Next up on the offseason files, it's the Washington football team. It's a team that I think really has a shot to make some waves in the NFC East. They did it this year in a shitty division. They were the best of the shittiest teams in the NFL. But the growth of that team over the year was phenomenal. What Alex Smith did this past season cannot go unheralded, and it hasn't gone unheralded as he got the 2020 Comeback Player of the Year award. However, he's no longer with the team. They let him loose, saved some money that way, and now they've got that same question because Dwayne Haskins is now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what they do at quarterback, they're in the Sam Darnold market.
100%.
They are.
But this is a team that I don't think is going to do something stupid for Darnold.
Okay.
Ron Rivera is safe as they get. Mm-hmm. They're not going to try to jump the turnstile here. They're not afraid they're going to get fired. The way the Bears do, the way a few of these other teams do.
No, he probably has more control over the franchise and the team than any other coach this early in his tenure with a team.
I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, from the way everything has gone down with the football team, and I think that was, Ron Rivera to me is not a flex the muscle kind of guy. He's more of a team guy than that, but I think that's what the Dwayne Haskins thing was. I think that was a flex move by Ron Rivera saying we have to move on from this. I think he's got a lot of power, a lot of respect in that room. And you're right, he's not a guy that's going to allow something ridiculously stupid to happen.
Mm-hmm. And this is a team with money, and that's something you got to remember. Mm-hmm. This is a team that has drafted really, really well, especially on the defense. Mm-hmm. And obviously I think you can add Antonio Gibson to that. I liked Antonio Gandy Golden last year. Mm-hmm. That's a guy that doesn't get talked about. I could easily see him developing into the two in Washington. And you tell me I have Terry McLaurin, Gandy Golden, Logan Thomas, and Antonio Gibson. That's a pretty formidable set of weapons. If I'm being really honest, that is a hellaciously formidable set of weapons. Mm-hmm. And there's only one of them that's not on a rookie deal. That doesn't suck, especially when you're looking at a defensive line that has, to me, the best young defensive end in the league. Mm-hmm. You got the best young pass rusher in the league, mm-hmm. 2 quality interior D linemen, and then you got a guy like Montez Sweat that, to me, is more of a situational pass rusher. I think it would help if you could find a way to satiate Ryan Kerrigan. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can or not, but hopefully you can, because I think those two together works nicely.
And I think you undersell their interior linemen. I think they're more than solid.
I didn't wax poetic about it. It's a very formidable. It's the best defensive line in football, and that's not debatable to me.
Exactly, but that was the point that I was trying to make, was that even if you say they're good, they're really, really good, I think that's underselling it.
I agree with that. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they are the best defensive line in football, and it's not even close.
Okay, I undersold that a little bit. My apologies.
I'm not trying to critique. I'm trying to add. But they do. They're going to. Ronald Darby's a free agent, and so that's a hole that they need to fill. I think.
I could easily see it being filled with Ronald Darby.
Think they bring him back?
I think it's going to matter about the money. The thing about Darby is that beauty is in the eye of the beholder with him, because depending on what scout, depending on what service or whatever that you listen to, you can get a completely different take on Ronald Darby. Mm-hmm. Because some will say he's a top 15 corner in the league. Others will say he shouldn't be a starter. Mm-hmm. For me, I think it falls somewhere in the middle of that.
He's fine.
I think he's a solid starter in the NFL. Mm-hmm. My question is, what does the money look like? You know what it's not going to be? The $3 million you paid last year. That ain't what's going to be, because the cornerback market's awful. Mm-hmm. There are just very limited corners out there. So if he hits the market, I could see him getting a deal that Washington does not feel the urge to match.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they target one in the draft, or will they go after a free agent? Malcolm Butler's out there now.
Yeah. Ooh. Yay. I could see them if they stay at 19 and one of these guys falls, whether it's J.C. Horn. In a perfect world, it'd be Caleb Farley. Okay. Because Caleb Farley fits on this defense like a glove. I just don't know if that's what they're going to prioritize. I look at this team and go, you need at least one tackle. You might need two, depending on who you ask. You know, you brought back Brandon Sheriff, which will help, you know, with Antonio Gibson. This is another spot I could see Elijah Vera Tucker. It just depends how what you believe in him. There are some people that think he's a guard. I think he can be a tackle. And if you believe that, then him, Christian Darrisaw, and this is another place Sam Cosmi could go, because they all fit this schematically the way the Washington football team plays.
Okay.
And I'm very tired of calling them the football team. I need a mascot. Please bring me a mascot. I don't give a fuck what it is. Just give me something.
You got to wait another year.
I know.
It fucks up the way I search for things on Google. I was doing that this
Does
morning.
me too, because I don't know whether to search WAS or WFT. Can we universally agree on that shit too? Go one or the other. I could care less which one. I just need to know which one to type in when I'm looking for them.
I like the WFT because it looks like WTF. And most of the time I'm asking myself that question about the things that go on, not on the football field or in the locker room about this team, but the outside. What? You what fucking team? Yeah, you're constantly thinking WTF about this franchise. So I like the WFT.
I think they're headed in the right direction.
I do too.
I think Ron Rivera was the greatest hire you could have made. I think the fact that the Dwayne Haskins thing blew up in Daniel Snyder's face and really gave him something to go, oh, this is why I should be listening to Ron Rivera. I think it's the best thing that ever happened to this team. And now you have to find a quarterback. Is it Taylor Heineke? I don't think it's Kyle Allen. I know they like Steven Montez as well, but I don't think it's him either. Just a question of how much are you willing to give up? The problem with Darnold is I don't think Washington's willing to give up enough to beat the Bears or beat the Panthers or, you know, a few of these other quarterback needy teams. And they don't have to.
With the 20 pick, it would be another, what, a 3 to make up the difference?
What are you talking about? They get back or
no? Like say, so Carolina's got an offer on the table. They're willing to give up 8.
8 for Darnold and 34.
Yeah. So the football team, they offer 20 and what to make up the difference?
I don't know that they can. I don't know that they have an offer that they would be willing to do to beat Carolina. I mean, because you got to look. If the Jets are as in love with Kyle Pitts as I am, that's the only way you're getting him. So you can take Zach Wilson at 2, take Kyle Pitts at 8, and now your franchise looks markedly different than it did 3 months ago. Washington may get beat by circumstance when it comes to Darnold or any of these other guys. And I'll be honest with you, based off what I saw of Taylor Heineke, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to go in with him as your starter next year. There's nobody on planet Earth that knows him better than Ron Rivera does. And at this point, you basically have him on what equates to a rookie deal. So it's not like they're going to win games based on Antonio Gibson and the defense. The question is, can Taylor Heineke hold on to Alex Smith? Can he be Alex Smith in his prime? Not turning the ball over, making the right throws. He's never going to be the guy that beats you. He's not going to beat teams by himself either, but he's not going to beat you. And with a defense this good, running game this good, that's where I think you need to be.
Yeah, don't forget that Taylor Heineke in that playoff game put a scare into the eventual Super Bowl champions. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that game, we all feared that was going to be the end. I mean, you're watching this as a Tampa Bay fan going, oh, there's no way we could lose to the Washington football team in the first round, and then, holy shit, here comes Taylor Heineke, and he's actually playing decent football.
It's the biggest scare they took in the playoffs, and I don't think it's all that debatable.
No, it's not. It's not, because every other game from there on out was a walk. So maybe there is something to the Taylor Heineke thing. I'm willing to trust Ron Rivera. I'm a big fan of Ron Rivera, always have been. And
as am I.
I think the future is very, very bright for the Washington football team. And I think that this is a team that, they've got money. They've got, draft picks. They haven't traded away the assets and things. And they don't have a whole lot of holes to fill. It's just a few. And they're going to be very competitive in that division with the Dallas Cowboys. I know everybody's all wild and crazy about the Dak Prescott thing, and everybody's excited. Yes, we understand, but it's still the Dallas Cowboys. It's not like much has changed. They're going to have to make some tough decisions. It's not like signing Dak Prescott was an immediate ticket to 13-3 and dominance over this division.
Yeah, by God, if you listen to some of the analysts about this, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and to me, I care way more about Dan Quinn than I do about Dak Prescott. Well, that's not 100% true. I know what Dak is. I'm curious of what Dan Quinn can make that defense because they have pieces. But at the end of the day, if you told me right now everything goes exactly the way it is right now, they add nominal pieces in the draft and nobody adds a real game changer in free agency, of which Washington's the only team that has the money to do that, I would still say Washington's probably the favorite to win this division going into next year. I mean, you're telling me right now I get this defense, that's the greatest, it's the best unit in this division, and it's not close. As it sits right now, if they add nothing else. And I think that could be enough to win this division.
And if they're not the favorite to me, they'll be damn close. The odds in Vegas, the futures bets, I imagine, or the futures odds, I imagine would be really, really close on a division championship between Dallas and the Washington football team. Stay the course, keep going. Eventually, you'll become a big boy football team and have a nickname again. And it'll all be fine. You could have, back-to-back division championships. And even though you kind of got one on the cheap this year, that's still a statement to behold.
There's a guy that I know this team likes. This would probably be one of their 2 threes, because I think they have 2 third-round picks, 74 and 83. They have San Francisco's third-rounder from the Trent Williams deal last year. Chaz Surratt. He's a guy we know well working for the North Carolina Tar Heels radio network.
Right.
He's a really good linebacker, and he could be really, really good. And he fits into this scheme like a glove to me. And here's the thing with Kevin, what was his name? Kevin Pierre Lewis. Is that his name?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to. The knock on Chaz Surratt, he has not played linebacker for an extended period of time. Well, he started as a quarterback, so his eyes are good. His feet don't always trust his eyes, and I think that could be covered in this defense, and it could make him one of the most formidable picks in this draft. It's my favorite place for Chaz Surratt to go. That is Sage's brother, by the way, if you were curious.
Plays on the inside or the outside?
Inside.
Inside.
He's an inside guy in the NFL to me.
I agree.
And I think he fits in this defense. It would be one of my favorite places for him. This is also one of my favorite landing spots for Rashad Bateman. If they don't believe in Antonio Gandy Golden as much as I do, or even if they do, and they think one of these guys can play in the slot, or they don't believe in Steven Sims, whatever the case may be that would ultimately end up winding up with Rashad Bateman, I would really like him with their second-round pick at 51.
Lots of hope for the Washington football team. I still think they should add a quarterback. I don't think trusting Taylor Heineke is the best scenario.
I don't disagree, but I could see, and that's another part of this. I could see them falling in love with either Kyle Trask or Kellen Mond. And looking at it going, you know what? We know what Heineke is. Heineke's a consistent guy. Maybe we hit lightning in a bottle with Trask. We beef up the receiving core. Kyle's stupidly accurate. A big-bodied guy. Maybe he's the guy again, Rex Grossman. I'm going to keep making that comp until the end of time. Maybe you fall in love with that. Maybe you fall in love with Kellen Mond and how multiple he can be with Antonio Gibson and his ability to run. I don't know where their head's at with quarterbacks yet.
Well, last time
But I wouldn't hate anything I just said. Bring him in with Heineke and go the best man wins.
Well, to get him, they would have to draft him with the 20 pick.
Kyle Trask?
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't.
Really?
Not necessarily.
You think they could wait till 52?
Not at 51. Or is it 52?
52.
Maybe it is.
That's what the screen says.
Screen says 52.
Says
it's actually 51. I fucked that up.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Could they get him at 51? Maybe. What would be more likely is that you have to package, that extra pick and get up to get him, which I don't love doing that. He could fall right in your lap at 51. Kellen Mond could very easily do the same thing. Just depends how you feel. Literally, the 1 and 2 in this class at quarterback is pretty universal. I think 90% of us feel like Trevor Lawrence is 1, Zach Wilson's 2. If not, you flip that. There's probably 10% that flip that. But beyond that, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I mean, I know there's at least one team that thinks Kellen Mond's the third best quarterback in this class.
Yeah.
So if Washington falls in line with that, that could be the solution too.
I like and subscribe here on the Sportsocracy YouTube channel. Our off-season previews will continue. The off-season files here in the playlist. Follow along. We'll hit them all by the end of this week. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Coming up this afternoon on the ESPN